Did you know that the Incas thought that the space between the stars is where all the magic was? This is incredible insight, and I'll tell you why. So basically, the spaces between the stars were living forms that represented animals. They also thought the Milky Way was an astral river. So like most people worshipped like the sun god, and they did that too, but what they really worshipped was the space between, the void, the fourth dimension, the dark plasma. Basically, I'm gonna connect this to why the worst parts in your life are actually the best parts in a weird way. So basically, the space between the stars they called the Yana Fuyu, the dark clouds, and in these dark clouds they saw the animals and other things from daily lives. These dark clouds were believed to make up the light stars. The dark times make up the miracles. Now, for those of you that don't know, the universe is made of 99.9% plasma. Plasma in science is known as an ionized gas, where the electrons start to run free and are stripped from the nucleus. Or the neutron, sorry. No, the nucleus. Some examples of plasma are neon signs, lightning, aurora borealis, plasma ball, so on and so forth. But basically, I have a theory that this dark matter, the space between the stars, is dark plasma, and this guy agrees with me. This is a little-known physicist who talks about his proposal that dark matter is dark plasma. He basically says dark matter and non-interacting dark matter could be considered to be in the plasma state, and dark matter particles that interact only through gravity and weak force is a pseudoplasma, or what I would call a special type of plasma. Other scientists have also said it is possible that dark matter in the universe exists primarily in a plasma state. He goes into several reasons why he believes they're cold, complex dark plasma. You can read the article yourself. Now back to the psychology of this dark plasma, or space between the stars. The Space Between by Dave Matthews. I think he knew what he was doing. What interests me about this song is it says, the space between the tears we cry is the laughter that keeps us coming back for more. The space between the wicked lies we tell to keep us safe from the pain. Basically, the space between is the truth. It is you, it is your soul, it is the plasma between the matter and the light, or consciousness. In my theory, plasma and consciousness are two separate things, but work together to create our human experience. I'm writing a book on this. You could sign up for it. The link is in my bio. It is going to be called A New Force. Okay. Funny enough, the space between is also what is called a liminal space. We're going to make some neurodivergent connections now. Liminal spaces are kind of known as like empty shopping malls, hallways that are just like weird vibes with a bunch of doors, transitional spaces, spaces of transformation, spaces that are kind of melancholic. They seem empty, but they're really full of transition. Which leads me back to, if you are going through a dark time, which most of us are right now because we're about to be Pluto and Aquarius, so we're in like the biggest liminal space ever where all our traumas are coming up and we kind of feel melancholy, but really they're actually coming up to grow out of us, to transition us into the age of Aquarius, where it's not like we won't struggle, but we are rebirthing, okay? Hermes or Hermes, whatever, was actually also a liminal space deity. Very interesting that we have some like wisdom symbolism and wing symbolism going on here. They also called him the god of liminality, or the guide of souls, because he basically was the communicator between the divine and humanity, the interdimensional traveler, the liminal space. And us as humans can actually do this. Once we transform, once we get past our limiting beliefs, once we embrace all of our soul, we can literally interdimensionally travel with our feelings, with our mind, our consciousness. We can connect with our higher self. We can connect with other beings. This is literally where humanity is heading. It is what we used to do in the old days. The Aboriginals already know about this for cajillions of years. We can do this. We are just learning to access that again. The greats have always been able to access this, but this is a power anyone can have. It is our birthright. This is a download I had when I was giving myself space from worrying or thinking about what I had to do, which is very hard for me. Basically, when I gave myself this space between to actually pick up on my knowing and my soul, first I got scared, which is the first thing we're gonna feel. We're gonna feel fear. We have to kind of let that go or make friends with it, and then we're gonna feel like we're falling. This is where I experience, you can have your own experience with this. I almost had like tentacles that spread out, like kind of like plasma or like a vine. And it's almost like the sentient plasma, the matrix, the net, the divine mother was holding me. And I said that I started to build trust with this void, getting into voids now, which had an intelligence, which was not empty. Basically, leap and the net will appear. The net is the plasma net, the Indra's net. Mother Nature. It is like a membrane or a veil. And when you let yourself connect to this liminal space, to your soul, to the spaces between, that is a very fast way of figuring out what you're supposed to do in this life. And then it's up to you if you want to pursue that, because you got free will, baby. This I also kind of found interesting. There's a fantasy novel called Blood in the Mist. Of course, a mist, which is very much like plasma. The main character is literally he unearths an object that's called a berm or a herm. And it literally means a tree not yet a tree, or a man not yet a man. A liminal space, a Hermes, an Hermes, whatever. In the mist. Basically, in my mind, that means like you're in the plasma when you're in this liminal space. This animalistic paradox flux of your soul. So let's for a second believe me that everything is made of plasma, because I love plasma. It's my hyper focus. That would mean that we are in a crystal universe, and there have been many books that kind of lend itself to that. I am crystallized plasma. I have a bioplasmic aura around me, my soul. And then there is that special type of plasma everywhere around us, the dark plasma that carries consciousness, making it non-local. In these spaces between, in these voids within dusty plasma, which let's just say our universe is, it can exhibit a lattice structure, almost like a bridge, meaning the empty spaces between dust particles, or just say between the stars within the plasma, can arrange themselves in a repeating ordered pattern similar to the arrangement of atoms in a crystal lattice or lattice. I know I say lattice all the time. I'm sorry, everyone. This phenomenon is interesting because it highlights the complex dynamics and self-organizing behavior, otherwise known as inorganic life, of dusty plasmas. Or in our case, literally the universe, the space between. Basically, this kind of proves to me the space between is intelligent. When you're going through your darkest times, the most is happening to you. You are transforming into a beautiful butterfly. Something to keep in mind, where I'm going to make a metaphor to psychology here. Dust particles in plasma acquire significant negative charges, causing them to repel each other due to electrostatic forces. This repulsion is the driving force between the formation of the lattice. So when you're feeling negative energy, when you're feeling doubt, when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling tension and squeezed, kind of like at the gym when you're creating your muscles, but it hurts and you don't want to go to the gym. This is actually forming your strength, your life, your new self. So when it hurts the most, it is the darkest before the dawn, baby. I have to stop doing that. That's very cringe. And going back to this beautiful watercolor painting I saw at the museum today, which inspired this TikTok. Basically, the Incas were on to something, and the space between is beautiful. Embrace it, flow with it. You will again see the light. Keep going, never give up. Embrace the space. I love you all. Plasma!